are you doing? Do you know Ponzi scheme? Ponzi scheme is actually fraud that collects money and funds from investors by advocating high dividend and covers their dividends with the money and fund that is collected from newly new investors without actually investing in order to wangle the capital and eventually wreck the scheme and run away with the capital. So it stands out a clever dot that snowballs fraud damages by giving a revenue part of revenue to uplines who collects downlines by recruiting Ponzi scheme. So I think the Japanese government, I think the Japanese pension system is pretty much the same with a Ponzi scheme, and the Japanese government advocates that Japanese pension system is defined benefit pension, but actually the amount of money that you save up through the pension service, the foundation of pension service in Japan, is not returned back to you all, but it's paid to people with pension eligibility after finishing pension payment duty. So, for example, although you are 30 years old in Japan and save up your money steadily through the pension service, the money you save up is paid to 65-year-old person who retired from work and who is already fulfilled with the requirements of pension payment duty. So if you become a 65-year-old in Japan, your pension is paid from fiscal resources that are collected from young generation. So this system will work safely based on the assumption that young population should increase more than old population in Japan from now on. However, if the number of pension payers decreases, the government runs out of fiscal resources that can cover people with pension eligibility. So the Japanese pension system is often compared to the picture that how many young people can support how many old people in Japanese society. So that this fact tells us how much the Japanese government count on young generation, new generation starting paying pension and tackle the problem of declining birth rate in Japan. So this is clearly national fraud in Japan. In addition, this pension payment system raises a strictly penalty for those who ignore payment reminder in the form of property foreclosure lately. In this way, the Japanese pension system recognized as one of the social securities in completely taxation for Japanese nations. So taxes is money that is never returned back after being paid, after being collected. So the Japanese government officially explains that the broken pension system is redistribution system that distributes income from high income earner to low income earners. Redistribution system is funny enough. It's obvious for anybody that this system will go bankruptcy in the future. So pension system bankruptcy will be realized someday in the future. However, the government will raise the further eligible age for receiving pension in order to obscure the fact. So currently, the eligible age for the pension is 60 years old, but it will be soon as 70 years old and 80 years old in the early future. So 80 years old is almost equal to the Japanese man's average lifespan. In this way, a lot of people who can't receive a pension will come out although they have received steadily in their lives. So eventually, if people can't even receive the amount of money they've paid in their lives, very, very hard. So this is actually a Ponzi scheme, I think. So I get the saving up my national pension to the Japanese government steadily is equal to paying additional tax to the Japanese government. So the Japanese companies are saving up the welfare pension insurance to the government. So the financial burden of pension insurance is pretty much big enough for Japanese companies to keep paying on a regular basis. So some companies are driven into bankruptcy because of big financial burden of welfare pension payment, welfare pension insurance payments. So Japanese pension is clearly additional tax, and the defined benefit pension is already on the rock because of the bullshit system design. So the government raises the eligible age and the collected amount due to the evading the fact this system cannot keep up anymore. So we Japanese are already in the situation that's not what we agreed. So I give up resisting against pension insurance payments to the Japanese government, and I pay this pension insurance as a part of taxation. So not spending PD life in my life, I really have to be independent from the Japanese social security by investing business and increasing a cash point from now on. So this is the only way that I can protect myself from the Japanese government.